Hello world, hello. Welcome back once again to this very new segment that we have live on Tuesday nights called Moments With. And this is a baby of the UnChristian podcast. So welcome. Thank you for being here and giving us your time. I like to say wherever you are listening and watching from, you could be in your kitchen cooking, you could be driving, you could be playing, and while you are showering, you're listening to this. Thank you so much for giving us your time and giving us space in your home and in your space. My name is Mmuso Church. I'm the host of the UnChristian podcast and Moments With, and thank you so much for always giving us your support. Subscribe, please, if you have not. Subscribe to all our channels wherever you are listening and watching from. Please leave us a review and a comment and share with other people. We really appreciate your support. Today, I've got a very special guest, someone I've been really dying to sit with and have a conversation. One of the most dynamic and really intelligent pastors that I know. I hold him in high regard, young as he is, and I really respect this man of God that we are going to be having a conversation with. Ladies and gentlemen, from Mmuso Church in Pretoria, please welcome Pastor Koketso Molaolwe.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the compliment that I'm young.
Of course you are, bro.
I'll take that.
If anyone told you otherwise, we cancel it.
No, man, thank you for having me. I've been feeling left out. You know, everyone that I know has been on this podcast, and here but finally I made it.
Thank you so much for your time, man. I know how busy you are. So it really, I really appreciate you even just being so generous with your time.
I think we just say that sometimes just for the sake of, I'm busy. With what?
True. But what we do want to unveil as we were talking off camera, we do want to show and let people know how busy the work of the ministry is. They don't understand or believe that. Because they've not seen it. The concept of ministry is different for different people. But we're gonna get into a lot of those.
Sure.
How's the family? How's the baby
Family's
girl?
Good, man. Baby girl is good. She's turning 4 in 6 months. I can't believe it. It was just yesterday when she was just a little one in my hands, and but now she's turning 4. Yeah. We're enjoying her. She's stretching us. She's stretching us. But hey, you know what? I think there's two things that really grow you as a person: is being a spouse and being a parent.
To teach you humility and patience.
Listen, man, it grows you in incredible ways. Obviously, before I get counseled, there are other avenues that grow you as well. But I think there's a unique kind of stretching and growth that happens when you become a spouse and when you become a parent.
How long have you been married?
7 years, 29th September. So 29th September, we'll be celebrating our 7th year.
Congratulations, man.
I'm like, 7 years, so quick.
Keep it going, man. You gotta keep it going. Soon you're gonna be like 15 years, 20 years. Time flies.
So man, we I think in recent, maybe the past 2 years, that's when I can say we really enjoy our marriage.
Come on, really?
Hey,
you are bursting a bubble of someone right now. What?
No. The first 5 were, it was we're fighting principalities. My brother, let me tell you, it was.
No way, really?
It was challenging, man. I think we were still young, naive, self-serving, self-seeking, wanting your own ways. I think the thing about marriage is that it kills you in a good way. And if you're not willing to die, then the marriage will die. If you are not willing to die,
it will die.
The marriage will die. So I think we were not willing to die. In those first 5 years, everyone wanted their own ways, and wanted. And I think with a bit of maturity comes that sense of saying, in fact, this thing came so that I can die, so that a better version of me can arise. But you hold on to that younger version as if it's the best version of you. Not knowing that, it's just a familiar version of you. It's what you are used to. It's not the best. And when you start dying in marriage, you realize that, wow, in fact, there's a better version of me that I was just not exposed to. So, So the past 2 years have been good.
What do you think kept you guys going through tough times?
I think commitment, just the commitment to God.
Come on.
I think when our commitment to each other was,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
teka-teki,
yeah, yeah.
our commitment to God kept us going.
yeah.
You're like, you know what? If it were me, I don't want to be here or whatever the situation may be. But you're like, but I made a commitment to God.
My God,
You know
my
that
God.
that I'll love this woman,
Yeah.
I'll honor her, I'll respect her, and I'll keep till death do us part.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you don't just stay in that state. You're like, okay, fine. Now that I've committed for life, how do I make this an enjoyable experience?
Enjoyable, yeah.
So it doesn't become this enduring experience where you are like, you know what, I made a commitment to God, so let me just do it. No, you're like, you know what, I made a commitment to God. That is the basis of it. But now, how do I make sure that this is a loving, fruitful, life-giving marriage? Then we
Also pleasurable, just
yeah,
enjoyable.
man, just enjoyable.
Marriage is meant to be enjoyed, not endured.
Not endured. Yeah. So I think it was our commitment to God. If we were not Christian, if we didn't have that commitment to God, I don't know. I think we would have just thrown in the towel.
Sure.
But that just saying, you know what, we made a commitment to God. We made a commitment to each other.
Yeah, man.
You know,
Yeah.
and when there's this statement, for better, for worse. I think we underestimate the depth of that statement.
Yeah,
like for better and for worse.
Both.
And when the worst come,
Bro.
we're like, nah, I'm out of here. So I think it was that where I had to say to my wife, there are times where we sit down and say, this is the worst.
Worst ever.
Yeah, we're like, this is the worst. But this is what we committed to.
My goodness.
This is the worst, but this is what we committed to. I've seen the worst of you. You've seen the worst of me. Yeah. But this is what we committed to. Can we still love each other, commit to each other in spite of this?
Oh, my goodness.
So yeah, man, those are some things that have kept us going. And not doing things because you feel like it. Doing things because they are the right things to do.
Yeah.
It's not every time in marriage you want to buy your wife flowers.
You don't always wake up in love.
No, you don't always wake up in love. It's not every time you want to cook dinner. It's not every time you feel like doing these things. But because you understand that they fill up your spouse's tank, you do them. And as you see them blossom, it brings energy into your marriage.
So important.
So I think it's we rely heavily on our emotions, and I think emotions are not good for direction. They are good for expression. They're just there for us to express the direction that we've taken, out of conviction and values. We don't act out of emotions. Emotions should just express the values and the principles that we espouse. So yeah, that's been
awesome, man.
Our journey of marriage.
Yeah. Now there was ministry jumping in there as well. You founded a church. We'll talk specifically about that.
Yeah.
How did you guys now deal with the extra added pressure and difficulty and demands of a new ministry? That is different. That I can imagine that to a certain degree it was a lonely journey. Because you're building something different in Mmuso.
And I think it's part of the things that almost broke our marriage. Ministry. In the sense that I was sensing this call, and when you feel the call of God and you want to plant the church, when you feel unstoppable. You feel like, I want to do this,
You can take the world.
I can take the world. And my wife was just not there yet. And the key word is yet. Because I heard God first. And I think the test of that is having to wait for your spouse. When you have this burning desire. And sometimes as pastors, when we're called, we leave our wives behind.
We grow
alone. And then you wonder why she's not engaged at church. But you forced her into these things. You're supposed to be your partner. You're supposed to wait for her. There's a mentor of mine who says, just after he got married, he went hiking with his wife. And then he was far ahead because the wife was still coming behind. And then he looked back and says, hey, come. And then the wife then says to him, unless we are both there, we are not there. It's when you are there alone, we're not there unless we're both there. So it was struggle because also I'm still young and passionate and da da da. And there are times where I didn't want to wait for her. There are times where I felt like she was wasting my time. But in the waiting, I realized that there are some things that if I had moved, I would have hurt myself, I would have hurt people, I would have hurt my family. So I think it's in God's, intelligence that he brought us together, knowing that you are a runner, you just want to run, but sometimes you're not cautious.
Sure.
Sometimes you are just, because of the excitement and everything, you just want to go ahead.
Just go.
Now I want to bring someone who would just kind of say, slow down a bit, have a bit, look around. Look around and see, are we seeing everything? Are we seeing the pitfalls and everything? So I am glad for those tense moments because they just helped me to see certain things that otherwise, if my wife was not there, I would not have seen. And here's the thing, when you plant a church, people are excited. People around you, they're excited. They seldom can tell you when you are not going about the right way because you are the leader.
Of course.
Now, they clap hands to everything you say.
Yes.
And now your wife can feel like the enemy of progress because
like,
everyone else is clapping. She's not.
She's not easily impressed.
She's
like
not
everybody.
easily impressed. But I believe she's there to ensure that you don't hit those potholes. You don't. She's like a blind spot.
Yes.
Yeah, she's checking. She's checking the side.
Yeah.
She's not there as your cheerleader. She's there as your partner.
Yes.
So it was a challenging time for us. But I believe Mmuso Church is what it is because of that season.
That's good.
Where we were wrestling. You think as we were wrestling, we were defining what this thing would look like.
Awesome.
In that wrestle.
And each other's roles.
And each other's roles. What roles are we going to play? Who are we going to become? And here's the thing. I'm an A-type kind of leader. I have a strong personality. And with A-type kind of leaders, you are prone to be the man of the moment.
Right.
You are prone to be, people gather around you easily.
Star of the show.
You're prone to be the star of the show. And I think in those conversations with my wife, it helped me just to not be the star of the show.
Right.
Now, when you're not the star of the show, you make people around you stars. And I think today we have a strong team because I'm not the star of the show.
Awesome.
I think the biggest asset we have at Mmuso Church is our team.
Yes.
And when you're not the star of the moment, people take ownership.
Yes.
And I think it's in that.
Because this thing is theirs as
theirs.
well.
So it was in that wrestle with my wife that it killed that stardom in me and that want to be that hero that want to take over kind of guy. And I'm so grateful for those times.
That's good.
At that moment, I was like, devil, why have you entered my wife?
When you look back to when you started ministry, and I will ask about both marriage and ministry.
Yes.
What did you not know then that you know now?
Yeah.
Well, just one or two things concerning ministry and marriage.
Yeah. I think ministry, I think I did not, what would I say I did not know? I think the permanence of it. Yeah, man. I used to do a lot of events, I'm like, this thing it's people's eternity. Yeah, it's not a nice service on Sunday. It's not just a show. It's not just an event. This is people's eternity. That's number one.
Goodness.
But number two, it's people's lives. Sure. When they are crying, they call you. When they are happy, they call you. When their marriage on the rocks, they call you. You officiate their weddings. You bury them. It's a long-term thing. It's a long-term commitment. It's an everyday 24/7 kind of a commitment.
Yep.
You carry people in your spirit. You carry people in your soul.
Absolutely.
It's not when someone just shares with you their issue. You can't just brush it off. You can't just give them advice and brush it off.
It's gone,
It's so permanent because I was in ministry before. I was serving in another church for about 13 years. But I was serving in different roles in kids' church, and I was a decent preacher. and I was a decent leader.
Sure.
And I think those two were the main reasons I was like, no, I can actually plant a church
Yes.
because I'm a decent preacher and I'm a good leader, you know, and there's a call of God upon my life.
Right.
I think the pastoring of the people was the one thing I didn't think about. I didn't think about
shepherding
that.
is another
The
scenario.
shepherding of people is
That's
something
heavy.
else, man.
It's heavy.
Yeah, it's something
The
else.
issues you carry.
The issues you carry. You know, just having to sit with a family through losing a child.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
When there's no sermon that will be enough,
Yeah.
there's no advice that will be enough, there's nothing that you can do, but you need to sit there with them through that pain.
Sure. One thing, as a pastor in the Free State, pastoring a church, one thing that changed my life is being called to a certain house where one of their daughters had come back from school in the afternoon, and she just took a nap on the couch. And she was like, 20 years old or something. And the other siblings were there playing around, watching TV. And that girl never woke up.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm getting called to say, Pastor, our daughter's on the couch and not waking up. You get there.
What do you do?
What do you do? I had never engaged a corpse.
Yeah.
I've prayed for sick people, but when it's dead, it was life-changing.
Yeah.
It brought me to the end of myself where I knew there's no sermon, there's no scripture, there's no prayer that's going to make this better. Crazy
You
stuff.
need to sit through the pain with them.
them.
Yeah, you just
Those
need
moments
to
are just
sit.
life-changing.
It changes you, man. And at the time, the family is looking to you to say something.
And you are
that
also
will
shocked.
make it. There was a family that lost their. I'm laughing and it's not funny. They lost their brother in church, and they call me. They're like, "Mfundisi, brother just passed on." I'm like, I'm so sorry. Then I pray with them on the call. No, I'll come later and just come see you and everything. I'm like, no, God bless you. And then I leave it. And then this lady says, so what do we do, Mfundisi? I'm like, wow, I'm the Mfundisi. I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot. I forgot. I thought, in my head, they're going to call me on Saturday. I'll come there. I'll do a prayer. Maybe I'll do a sermon. But in that moment, it hit me.
Everything now is on your
You need to kind of provide leadership here.
Yes.
I was like, Bible school did not prepare me for
that.
It did not prepare me for this. So I had to do that in my first funeral. Yeah. And so that's what I'm talking about, the permanence of it. It's life altering.
Right, it is.
And I think that's the when we get excited, and unfortunately when we get excited about church planting, we look at people that have done it.
Yeah.
But what we're looking at the stage. We're looking at the building. We're looking at the prestige. We're looking at the the financial reward. We're looking at all those things and
stuff that took years to arrive.
That took years to build, But we don't sit with them and just say, hey man, how is the counseling of the people going? How does it feel when people leave?
You know my problem though with seasoned pastors, and you ask them such questions. But just say, it's the grace of God. It's one of the reasons why I'm actually running this series of a church and the city. I'm like trying to get to the heart of the pastor. Okay, I understand it's the anointing. I understand it's the grace of God. Really, but come on, give me something.
give me more meat.
What can I do?
Yeah. And in some instances, people. One of the questions I get a lot. By God's grace, our church has just grown. A bit quicker than what we had anticipated.
There are things you can't explain.
There are things where you look at it, you're like, you know what? I don't know. And people are like, man, hold seminars, have seminars and teach us. I'm like, I would love to. But I feel like, man, most of what has happened here, it was really, really just the grace of God. So I think the first thing would be that, man, the pastoring is what shocked me.
I get you.
Just what it actually entails. When you have, this past weekend, I had 3 people in the church who lost their loved ones. And now you need to decide, where do you go? Where don't you go?
And there's no right answer.
And there's no right, wherever you go, you have wronged another person. Yes, people will say, no, you must raise leaders in the church who will go. Yes, you do, and I have. And I had to send this one there, send this one there. But the guilt is still there.
And people still want Murutu
Still
Abona.
want, yes, they still want Murutu Abona. You know, they're like, yeah, we see brother so and so, but pastor was not here, he was there.
Yeah.
Is it because that family has money? Is it because they drive this car? Is it because they do this? And now you get the politics. And you also just feel bad. Apart from the politics, you just feel bad that you were not there for these people that you care about. But you can't divide yourself. No. Listen, man, I'll tell you.
And marriage?
The shocking thing about marriage, hey, man, I can write a book. No, I can't. I won't write a book. I think it's just the constant dying to yourself.
Right.
I think I understand why the Bible compares marriage to Christ and the church. Because if it says if you want to be my follower, you need to die to yourselves. If anyone wants to follow me, they need to carry out the cross and die to themselves. And I think it's how much of me had to die for my marriage to blossom.
Sure.
And I don't regret the parts that died because they reintroduced better. Is that scripture that says a seed to multiply needs to fall to the ground and die first, unless it dies. And I think it's the same. There's a lot of marriages that can be saved if people just willing to die to themselves, die in